What's going on, guys? I'm back with another video, and today we're going to be taking a look at some of my Criterion pickups for the month of July, the sale that happens every July and November, as well as some of the Prime Day deals in July as well. Heading over to Barnes & Noble, I was not expecting a whole lot of titles to be available. It just seems like every year it just keeps shrinking and shrinking. So unfortunately this year I had to go to 2 Barnes & Nobles, and I was considering going to a third one because the selection was just not there. In fact, the first Barnes & Noble I went to barely had anything. There were empty spaces on the shelf and there was just hardly anything to pick up, and it was kind of a very disappointing trip to go to because it was like, what am I picking up? We're going more towards online purchases or just having to put movies on hold to pick up at Barnes & Noble because Amazon unfortunately does not price match everything for the Criterion sale, but that's just the road we're in right now. So I want to show you guys what I picked up for the sale. And let's dive right into my first title, which was Throne of Blood. Now, I've been waiting to pick this up for a while. Like, this would have been picked up maybe 2 years ago or so, but I've been holding off because I've been thinking maybe there would be a 4K release of this. And because the selection was so limited, and I've been wanting to rewatch this film, and it's one of my favorite Akira Kurosawa films, I just bit the bullet and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna own it. And I'm sure if Criterion released it, it's going to look great as it is. It is a 2K transfer. I'm not sure if we'd ever get a 4K of this anyway, so went ahead and picked it up. This is a Japanese take on Macbeth, and truly an astounding film. Amazing cinematography, the atmosphere it creates, the fog. If you're looking for an alternative Macbeth story, if you didn't enjoy the A24 Denzel Washington one, definitely do check this film out because, like, here there's actually subtitles and I feel like you'll understand it. You don't have to suffer through the old English that might not be for everybody. Next up is Watership Down, one of the few animated films in the Criterion collection. I feel like it's an overlooked title. Like, I don't hear too much about it often, but a really amazing film with some really great hand-drawn animation. Absolutely love the classical music that's used here, which is something we've kind of shied away from over the years in animated films and inserted like pop culture music, but something that I think complemented the film really well. And definitely a much darker film than I was expecting. Simple in premise, it's really about just a band of animals trying to stick together and deal with this invasion of their community and just trying to survive. And it does it brutally, but it's also kind of this honest portrayal. It's hard not to get swept up in all of the emotions because unfortunately animals do get hurt in this animated film, and it's really about the destructive forces of invasions and how communities need to stick together to prevail. And I really enjoyed this one, so definitely highest recommendations for Watership Down. Next up is Night of the Living Dead, zombie film from 1968. Really enjoyed this. I saw this back in October of last year, and it's something that I thought tackled the whole zombie apocalypse thing in a realistic manner. Really love the mystery that's at play, and absolutely love the conclusion of this film. Usually not the biggest fan of zombie films, but this did it in such a way where it felt refreshing, and I was like, yes, we need more movies like this if we're gonna keep doing zombie films. If you have not seen Night of the Living Dead, make sure to put it on your watch list. Really great film. Next up is The Graduate, a film that I've been holding off on for a while. I heard a lot of great things about it, and performances are really excellent. I love the use of soundtracks in this film, and it's just a very reflective film about growing up and trying to find purpose and meaning in life. Kind of very reflective film that ends in one of those long panning takes into the credits, and it's just a film that really makes you sit back and think about your own life decisions and how you got to where you're at. So really enjoyed this film. Definitely highest recommendations for The Graduate. Now on to the just regular Blu-rays and 4K titles. First up is Trainspotting. I picked this up from my friend Chad Saborin, who's also a fellow YouTuber. Our first Criterion haul was actually on his channel. But Trainspotting, amazing film. Recently saw this, and I knew I had to own this on Blu-ray, so when I heard he was upgrading to 4K, the Criterion 4K that is, definitely was interested in buying this off of him on Blu-ray, and it's pretty darn great on Blu-ray too. And you get into the headspace of these characters fascinating characters to follow, an incredible film about addiction and just this repetitive cycle that you're in. Really great editing, really enjoyed the performances. There's surprisingly a good level of humor in this despite how dark the topic is. Can't recommend this title enough. Trainspotting, if you haven't seen it, do check it out. Next up is a film I picked up at the Dollar Tree, and that is Game Night. I've been waiting to pick this up for a while. I've been waiting for the price to drop, and then one day just ran into it, and for $1.25, you cannot go wrong with this movie. This was just one of those films that has a simple premise, but it's executed so well, so fun, a lot of entertainment value, and lots of twists and turns. Cannot recommend Game Night enough. Next up is Nebraska, a film that I've been holding off for a long time, actually. I had this on my watch list since I was nominated, and having seen the holdovers, I finally knew I needed to cross this off the watch list. And I'm really glad I did, because I really loved the chemistry between all the actors here and the story about old age and kind of reminiscing on your past decisions. And I found the relationship between the father and his son to be super interesting as well. A very wholesome film that has a lot of great themes and messages that I can revisit, especially as I get older. One thing that's for sure is whenever you get an Alexander Payne film, you can expect really great writing. So far I've only seen, I think, 3 or 4 of his films, and the writing has easily been one of the strongest suits in all of those films. Definitely do check this film out. Next up is Fiddler on the Roof. One of my favorite musicals of all time. I generally go for more darker musicals like Sweeney Todd or Annette or something, but the amount of musical numbers in here and just like the entertainment value, the performances, the cinematography, I just really liked, and I feel like there is some like darker and somber moments in this film that really hit emotionally. And I feel like the father is just an interesting character to follow because he's against everything that anybody's doing in this. And so he's stubborn in his ways and he's looking to God for answers. Nothing is going right for this man, and which makes him such an interesting person to follow. And you know, time flew by with this one. I know it's a lengthy film, but it's a really great film, but it's a classic for a reason that I think should be seen at least once. Next up, I picked up The Art of Self-Defense. If you want something that's a little bit more serious, a little bit more darker than Cobra Kai, see The Art of Self-Defense. That's my pitch for this movie. Because I actually watched this around the same time I was watching the show, and it's the reason why I wanted to check it out, because I was having so much fun with Cobra Kai. At least the first 3 seasons, and was like, you know what, let me check out another karate movie. And this completely, like, I was not expecting anything from this movie, and absolutely love the writing in this film. Jesse Eisenberg is great. The twists and turns, the comedic moments, they work so well in this film, and I just had a blast with this one. Doesn't get enough attention. That needs to change soon. Next up is Noryang Deadly Sea. I feel like a lot of people didn't end up seeing this last year, even though they did show trailers for this in theaters, but even so, just limited showtimes. I had to drive out of state to see this, and watching the trailers really got me excited because we just don't get naval battles anymore. I mean, I know we got Gladiator 2 coming out now, and that looks incredible, but up until then, I had to say, like, Master and Commander was the only film I thought that had naval battles and just like this epic scale. So definitely really enjoyed this film. I do think The Admiral is a slightly better film. The sequel, I don't know what the heck happened because that was a mess, but the action at least was still pretty good. Noryang returns back into form. Still not as good as the first, but something I really enjoyed. If you're looking for really big, epic war films, do check this film out. Do watch the first one and then jump to the third film. I don't think the second film is worth watching, but Noryang, a lot of fun, really great character moments, but really you're coming in here for the action. Next up is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. Long overdue. Just wasn't in the right headspace, and I think I was a little too young to actually really appreciate this film. On rewatch, amazing film, like, can't recommend it enough. And I knew I needed to pick up on Blu-ray, and it finally went down to like $8, I think, for this digipack, I think it's called, and really great deal. Couldn't pass up on this one. Then we move on to 4K titles, and I picked up Creature from the Black Lagoon, my favorite Universal Classics monster film. And with this kind of artwork, like, I usually don't pick up steelbooks, but with this black and white matte finish, absolutely gorgeous, and it's a 4K of the film. I hadn't owned it on Blu-ray, so I knew I had to pick this one up too. Next up is A Clockwork Orange, one of the sales on Prime Day. Unfortunately did not come with a slipcover or anything, but a movie that I've been kind of waiting on to watch, and I finally saw it, and it was just one of the situations where I thought I was going to hate it because it has such repulsive characters, but kind of a mesmerizing film, and just like the world that we're stepping into, truly an amazing experience. Not my favorite Stanley Kubrick film. I think that still goes to like 2001: A Space Odyssey, but one I really appreciated, and definitely has plenty of rewatch value. I know some people said that it was a one-time watch for them because it was so like graphic and just like disturbing, but a film I definitely do see a lot of rewatch value. In fact, when I finished watching it, I already wanted to rewatch it. And then lastly, I picked up Dunkirk on 4K, another film that I've been waiting for the price to drop, and it finally did on Prime Day. And this is one of those films that just gets better with each watch. I've come to appreciate this film so much more than when I first saw it. Definitely a unique war film, ones that we don't get. You know, there's no central character. We're getting 3 different perspectives. Really just like admire the ambition that Nolan brought to this film, and it just looks absolutely amazing with the cinematography, the sound design, and really just enjoy the performances and the story it's telling. I think it's really kind of an underappreciated Nolan film, even though a lot of people do like it. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. That covers all the Blu-rays I picked up for the month of July for both the Criterion and Prime Day sales. Comment down below in the comment section what titles you picked up in the month of July. I'll be curious to check out what other people are purchasing. And if you like this video, do give it a thumbs up down there below. Really appreciate the support. Don't forget that subscription button down below as well. And thanks for watching as always, and I will see you guys in a later video.